some serious business. Right now, it is 9:29. That means we are 1 minute away from the markets opening. We have seen futures down all morning. We know that earnings week is kicking off at the end of the week, but it's tariffs. Tariffs have investors spooked. Ron Insana, what's your take on all of this? Earlier in the week, we said, listen, the market has it priced in, but now we're seeing things continue to drop. Well,
the president has raised the ante rather significantly by last night saying that he could impose another 10% tariff on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods, escalating the trade war with China, threatening in many ways trade relations with Europe, with Canada, with Mexico. And so as this escalates, it becomes a much bigger deal. China says it will retaliate. We're getting to the point, Stephanie, where there may be more tariffs than there are goods and services exchanged between the two countries. That sets a stage for an unprecedented action that could lead not only to markets having trouble, but the global economy suffering as well.
There you go, though. Nope. Market down 129. Tell me, who thinks this is a good idea? Because just a few weeks ago, whether you're talking Warren Buffett or Paul Tudor Jones, big-time investors have said, I'm not worried about this. And it sounded like the investor community thought this was a game of chicken.
Listen, I reject that argument out of hand. I also reject that this is a negotiating strategy by the president to wring concessions out of our trading partners. This is, again, and we spoke about this a couple weeks ago, this is Bannonism pure and simple. This is economic nationalism, trade protectionism, weakening multilateral institutions, whether it's the World Trade Organization, NATO, the United Nations, any number of groups. And this is part of a larger strategy that, from an economic perspective, I talked about incoherence on foreign policy earlier in the program. This is a wildly incoherent economic policy that, as we know from the 1930s, which Smoot-Hawley tariffs turned the Great Depression into something even worse than it was.
Indeed.
This could turn a robust global economy towards a recession. And again, it has no point. There are specific areas of redress with China that we need to go after. This is not the way to do it.
A self-described Leninist, is this Steve Bannon's prediction, blow up the system and start again?
Well, I'm proud to say we got Steve Bannon off of Sirius XM, but he's still in the White House. His philosophy, his ideology, that's very real. Destroy the administrative state. Well, just last night, the president issued an executive order changing the selection of administrative law judges even. And back to Kavanaugh, he's another disciple of destroying the administrative state. NATO, as you alluded to, is part of the administrative state, the economy, everything that exists. Let's just blow up the whole system and create a level of anarchy.
Kavanaugh and Steve Bannon in the same camp? I ask only because
well, I mean, just in terms of administrative state, I mean, he may not be, running around encouraging people to be racist per se, but Kavanaugh still is someone who is opposed to the administrative state, and we've seen that in his rulings when it comes to regulatory issues, regulatory panels, EPA, and what have you. So, yeah, he's a part of that.
Stephanie, you mentioned that this is the beginning of second quarter earnings season. So profits for the S&P 500 corporations are supposed to be up 21% this quarter. A good half of that comes from the tax cuts. We know that. But the problem is that this is a slow-moving train wreck. This may not impact markets and economies tomorrow, but next year, if we continue down this road, we are going to have a global issue.
And this is what's grossly irresponsible. A slow-moving train wreck can be stopped. You can protect yourself against it. But you can't if you put blinders on and ignore the fact. And I think back to Larry Kudlow on Fox Business 2 weeks ago, lying about the fact that debt and deficit is going down when he sure as hell knows it going up. All right, we're going to turn now to Capitol Hill, where in the next hour, Speaker Ryan is going to have his first chance to address the accusations against Congressman Jim Jordan. The Ohio Republican denies claims he ignored allegations of sexual abuse by an Ohio State wrestling team doctor during his time as an assistant coach. Jordan also has questioned the timing of the accusations, say they may be politically driven. MSNBC's Garrett Hake has been following all the developments on the Hill. Garrett, the congressman just spoke again moments ago. What did he say?
Yeah, Stephanie, let's be clear about the accusations and the reporting here. NBC News has spoken to 4 former wrestlers on that Ohio State team who said Jordan should have or must have known about the accusations against the team doctor. Only one of those wrestlers said he had spoken with Jordan about it specifically. All of them feel like he should have done something to stand up for them. And that's been the accusation against Jordan and something he has pushed back against strongly, including when he stopped in front of our cameras just a few minutes ago.
I'm telling the truth. Look, I stood up to the Speaker of the House from my home state, stood up to the IRS, and have stood up to the FBI. To think that I would not stand up for my athletes is ridiculous. Thank you.
And there have been other athletes and coaches who have rallied to Jordan's defense, but it's clear that this story and these accusations are not going away, Stephanie.
And what do we think Paul Ryan's going to do about it today?
Well, that'll be interesting. Ryan and Jordan are not exactly close. Jordan is a founding member of the Freedom Caucus, which has been a thorn in Paul Ryan's side. But the number 2 and number 3 Republicans in the House have already defended Jordan. I suspect if he is asked, Ryan's likely to do the same thing, or probably more likely than that even, punt to the idea that this is something that is under investigation. Ohio State University is conducting its own investigation here. Jordan has said he will cooperate with that investigation, and that's likely to be the definitive opportunity to shed some light on what exactly really happened here.
All right, well, the Freedom Caucus, before this full investigation goes on, is giving him a full-throated backing last night, saying Jim Jordan is